All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Emily Hammond. I'm here for Joan today from the Yolo County Library. Today's topic is about Grace Garden with Master Gardener Ann Liu. Before we get to Ann's presentation today, I am going to do the Yolo County Library land acknowledgement. We should take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we are gathered for this meeting. For thousands of years, this land has been the home of Patwin people, including the Yocha Dihi Wintun Nation today. The Patwin people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. It has been cherished and protected as elders have instructed the young through generations. We are honored and grateful to be gathered here today on their traditional lands. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Anne, and I'll be here to help out with questions at the end.
Thank you, Emily. That was a beautiful land acknowledgement. Often we hear it, but can't visualize it. So let's begin by looking at this picture. In the last 2 years, since I have become active in being one of the leaders in Grace Garden, we have made this a living land acknowledgement. At the time, I was working with a Patwin Winton leader, Diana Almendares, out in Esparto and Cache Creek. And she introduced me to how important it was to have native plants in the garden as part of soil restoration, because that's how the Patwin Winton people in this locale took care of the soil. By growing native trees like this valley oak, by having recognition of what is going on below the soil and not just above. Too often modern gardeners think of only what chemicals or what can I add to the soil to make it grow more. How we grow our plants, what we put in our soil, what we can do naturally is the most beneficial thing we can do for the future. Alongside here, in the last 2 years, we have grown native plants that flower during the growing season of the plants, and the coffee berry and the ceanothus, lemon verbena here, all contribute to insects and pollinators, bees and birds coming in, and hopefully having some place to hide underneath and nest as well. So a good garden is a welcoming garden, not just for how much you can get out of it to grow above ground, but is feeding what's underneath. Emily, you mentioned kale, and I have to mention the kale we have right here. This is a tree kale. It grows like a tree, and if you were to come, and right at the entry, we have these 4 raised beds here, and then we have another row of raised beds here. At the very end, the one closest to the driveway, we have a tree kale in the corner. Tree kales are quite rigorous, and they're not tender like lettuce can wilt very easily. If you want to have leafy greens throughout the year, kale is a good choice. This tree kale, one of the things I want to try is to take one of the branches from it and root it and grow more tree kales. I got that one from Territorial. This is a beautiful garden. We have the leafy greens here, and this is a currant one. This is what it looks like in early October. We have the leafy greens here, the kale, the chard. Sometimes we have the spinach kale called komatsuna. It's a Japanese one. And right here, and then we have some pollinating plants at the end. We have some chives here. And right here, these 1, 2, 3, 4, we have broccoli and cauliflower. And slugs like that as well, Emily. They not only like the kale, they like the cauliflower and anything that's leafy green. They really got into our chard, and Usha would know that because she took them home and took the leaves and try to wash off the leaves with vinegar water, maybe a quarter cup in a bin, and that washed off the slugs, and you could still eat. It's organic and it's not going to hurt you. You might wonder what these white bars are. We put them up all from scrap materials around Davis, and we can put a shade cloth over it when it gets really hot. Or what we did use it for was insect barrier cloth, because those white flies that fly around in August lay their eggs, and then those eggs hatch and the little caterpillars come out and start eating right away. Right here, we have a miniature one, half the size of this one, and we call it baby bed, and we have lettuce growing there right now for the first time. In these long beds, um, we have faba growing, which are nitrogen fixers, and then way over here, we have onions on one side, and then the taller peas on the other. Now it looks a lot taller than when this picture was taken. In the back, we're growing a native forest. We're growing uh, a buckeye tree in the back, as well as some um, western redbud. And we have another raised bed here. And this is probably the only picture I have of a bench, and I will mention this bench later. A parent bought that. And I will tell you why later, and here's the stage. We're going to have an event upcoming next Wednesday, Ash Wednesday. This is in the back of UMC, United Methodist Church in Davis on Anderson, a block over from the Jewish temple, the synagogue. And so we are an interfaith, non, we welcome everyone who wants to experience the connection of spirituality in nature. And in the back here, way over here, we have 16 fruit trees. We have an orchard. Okay. What is Grace Garden? This 5/8 of an acre. What is it? It's a community. It's a feeding garden. It's a place for people to care and grow and form new networks. So here's our mission. Would someone like to read it out loud? Go on, Tracy.
Good grief. Our program is to create a vibrant, inclusive interfaith network, growing food for the hungry and building community through sustainable gardening while embracing all people equally, nurturing the earth and attending to how food can promote health and well-being.
Beautiful. Very nicely read. And so I said that we have some upcoming events right here. The plant sale event will be a combination of music as well as some plants for sale, as well as maybe an art activity. Who we are, I think I kind of briefly went over about the Patwin Winton people. I didn't say where the food went. It goes to Davis Community Meals and Housing, which serves food at St. Martin 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Also, the food goes to Grace in Action, which serves food right there at United Methodist Church. And when we have more than enough, we send it out to maybe affordable housing places, as well as the pantry is a place on campus where students can go and pick 3 things off the shelf. And so it's an open place for free food for hungry students. And there's the Davis Night Market at the park. We do welcome and care for the stranger. We actually work alongside them. I am delighted that some of the volunteers have been people from Grace in Action. It's a wonderful experience to have those who would like the organic vegetables and fruit to come alongside and help to harvest. Right here, we have apricots and three of our leaders. And this is kind of fun to just watch our video rather than hearing me talk the whole time. And it's very short. I'm going to play it for you. Okay?
Yeah.
It comes naturally to me to talk about these folk because we have seen the positive experience and the outcomes. It helped us tremendously in terms of
Did you like that?
Thank you.
Okay. That video, how do I get out of this? That video was made possible with our work with Celebration of Abraham. I'm stuck. How do I?
Are you wishing to go back to the website?
Yes,
It'll be one of those tabs at the top
top.
along the web browser. I see one called Grace Garden in Davis, Summer Squash Seeds,
Oh,
YouTube.
go back here.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. So you can see this again because this is our newly updated website. And we have a few little kinks in it, but it should be the way you've seen it now in within a few days. We were having a few problems. Okay, that's my granddaughter. I have to say that I'm a little. Grace Garden is our flyer, and you can make copies of this on your own and share it with people you know to let them know that we are always looking for volunteers, and this is a place where there are classes and as well as a place to receive any kind of donation like garden tools, wheelbarrows, that sort of thing. So you can navigate this using the homepage here. And it's a ministry of the Methodist Church that came about in 2009. And the story goes that Sid, Gwen, and Jim, the three of them, went out to a Methodist church along the coast and came back and saying, we can do it. And they had just finished the Master Gardener training and they decided to try growing a garden. And so this is, I gave you the location. This is our email in case you have any questions. And this is our running pictures. In the running pictures, I just want to point out some of the things. We need to slow it down a little bit. That's our baby bed I told you about. This is the memorial where there are bricks to remember those who have died, who are homeless and don't have a place for their friends to come and honor and remember their the ones who have passed on. And so there's a little brick garden right in the front. Right here is a rototiller and another rototiller that really helped us. There's the brick remembrance. Here's our group, our new sign that you see at the front of the street. And this was the first year we had the garden decorated for the holidays, not just for Christmas, but all the major holidays. We observed all the colors. We try very hard to honor all the faiths so that no one excluded. That's then the about us. How you can get involved is in 3 ways. Being part of the leadership, and it's not anything scary to be part of the leadership. It's just being willing to come regularly and helping as you can and giving your ideas, learning as well as you can. We rely on scientific research that's recommended by the UC Cooperative Extension Master Gardener Program. And this feeds off from what's coming out of UC Davis. And we promote healthy eating and we have fun activities and we try to connect you to other events in the city and we try to be part of it. Here are some names of our regulars on this top line. Usha is here among us. These are when they can come, they come. They're more our part-time. And we have 3 very loyal ones who come when they can from the university. Some of them are from a service organization and some come independently. And Kendall is the one who is helping us with our website. Being willing to volunteer just takes these qualities and it's wonderful. You do get exercise, you get your steps in because you're walking all around the garden and you're in the sun, you get the fresh air and you get to meet people. It keeps you happy. If you have a hard day, you just come out, not even to work. If you wanted to just come by and walk through the garden, lots of people do. Donate is not only in form of money, but any kind of assets you have. Like we have someone who moved and had a lot of farm equipment and contributed. Anything that you think might be handy for running this garden that you see, you're welcome to offer it to us. You can email and say, I have a big roll of parchment paper and I can't use it anymore. Can you use rolls of paper? We certainly can because we do art activities. How about someone painted their room? We paint our trees. We paint our trees with white paint for sunburn protection. And so some of the things that you think no one could use, you can always ask, can you use this? The work varies a lot depending on the season. And it was really interesting. This woman here, Harriet, right here, is our model. She is 91 years old and she bicycles over from Village Homes and she enjoys farming. In fact, agriculture work because her grandsons do it too and sell at the farmers market on Saturday and Wednesday. It is proven that people who garden live longer and they live longer and healthier lives. And so I'm going to let you read that. Not all activities are physical, like I'm becoming less and less able to get down on the ground for long times. So I can do quite a bit still, even sitting at the table, organizing people, being a captain, telling people how to do something. Um, there's lots of ways you can help. And we've been getting lots of students. The first year we worked with the students, we had 1,000, like 1,200, not just students, but 1,200 volunteers. And then last year we had a little bit of a drop, maybe closer to 800 to 900. And this year it looks like it went up again because just this last month in January, we had over 80, and that's a lot. Milestones. This is kind of fun. I told you a little bit about Sid and Gwen, how they came and said, we can do it. And that they did. It used to be a big weed lot in the back. And we still have a lot of weeds in the back, but you saw the garden the way it is now. You can see the marked improvement, can't you? It's a lot of hard labor. What was interesting here is that as they were working since 2009, they started needing a place to put things. And so this, where is it? This right here, 2 Soar Optimus grants helped to purchase a large tough shed. Oh no, the tough shed is this one right here. But then there was this small little shed that was kind of interesting because it was like a community college that was teaching students how to build little sheds. And so they said, would you like us to build a shed for you as a as an activity for the students to learn? So the students built their first shed and then donated it. Northern California Construction Training built us a small shed. And also the red picnic table and the blue table that we use as our work table were all built by these students who were learning how to construct little sheds and such. But then this little shed just didn't land up to be enough space. And that's where later on there was a grant from Soar Optimus to have this large shed in the back. And that's what you see. And that's what's inside. It's pretty packed now. And then we had someone visiting here from Australia. I wasn't living here in Davis at the time. This is the story I hear. And he volunteered to build three spots for composting. And composting takes space. You need a 3 by 3 by 3 foot space full in order to properly compost and get heat. And so that's what they did. And then right here in 2018, a volunteer came and built a frame for boards to go across to be a stage, and that's where the Ash Wednesday service will be. This is the big shed, and that's where that mural is with the farm, with the rows of plants is today. That's what it used to look like. Here's a picture of Gwen, and it's a lot of work to restore the soil. It's adding compost and digging it in about 12, 18 inches down, making the soil loose. But the harvest makes all that work very worth it. And just in the last, so we introduced artwork more in the last 2 years, and you saw some of the stumps were painted, and it's in the colors of indigenous tradition. And so here's the hoop house, the retirement trowels, the donation of the stumps and such. And here we have a volunteer student making these beautiful signs, the Arboretum donating native plants. And so we really have a marked increase of native plants in our garden. Someone donating a rototiller. And this is our brand new since December, a new pathway. So now we can have wheelchairs come in, walkers come in, people sitting at this red bench for education activities. And we had an outstanding event, Rumi's Caravan, just last month, and it was wonderful. And that really eased it off, having that financial support from having an event such as that, because it's a lot of work taking care of new seedlings. Our volunteers, I think you can go through it on your own. They're really, I think this is the warmest page of all, because it's in the words of the volunteers um, who are warmed by working in the garden, how it reminds her of her home back in India. It smells like the garden. Here's the story of Sigma Nu, which was one of the early service groups that helped at the garden, and they loved, their favorite was the compost, turning the compost. Well, the leader who brought Sigma Nu over died in a really sad accident, and so the parents donated that bench that I showed you at the beginning of the show. And that's why this picture was selected, so you know it was from Sigma Nu. And just the work of weeding and turning the soil and just the camaraderie we get. We were just so happy after that plant sale, and just inviting friends and coming. Renee does a lot of the art things, and Claudette brings in a lot of succulents and perennials. Carolyn has helped where she can help. And there's me, and here we have Helen, Renee, and Alessa, who donated the stumps. And they're painting these signs. Like, we need someone to paint who has pretty printing to put the names of our fruit trees on those. So some of the jobs are just sitting there, especially when it's hot. Our volunteers, let's see, our calendar, that we're open for work days, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, 9 to 11. The summer is actually 8 to 10, not 8 to noon. And there's an email right here in case you're not sure if it was canceled due to rain or bad air. Coming attractions that we are planning a plant sale event. This is old, April 13th, 2024, but it will get fixed. And then I will do a little bit more of month to month in the garden, what to do. And for you who are interested in what you can do for a bed, if I don't answer all your questions, because we have just that 1 hour, you can always come to the garden and you can see our potting beds. But just real quick, for the soil, I would recommend good potting soil. So I will come back to this in a little bit, because I have a month to month in the garden. Classes, I just want to point out, are two central ones. Is the one that you have logged into today, the Master Gardener classes by Zoom, gardening classes by Zoom, which is, this is incorrect. It's the second and fourth Thursday of each month generally, and I have a schedule that I will show you, and Karen's Gardening for Year-Round Meals. I will show you that. Here are some past pictures of classes that we've had. Dying, weeds, knowing the weeds, how to recognize a weed. What is a weed?
And
Yes.
when you get those dates accurate, could you forward an email to me, or?
Yes, Tracy, which date are you specific about?
Pretty much
calendar?
pretty much all of them. I'd like to put them in my day planner if I could bring that into fruition.
I'm going to show that to you after this Zoom thing is over. Next is the in the news and a blog. I think you could read that on your own. So
Okay.
I'm going to close this one and show you, answer your question right now, Tracy. Emily, maybe we can show her the gardening classes by Zoom. And then you can take a picture or we can send you that. And that's the schedule with the topics. Does that help, Tracy?
Yes, ma'am. I'm taking a picture. Don't let it go yet.
Okay. So it goes, let's see, we're doing February 8th now. So we're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Notice the date. And I think when you sign in at the library to register, that's it also shows the little windows of the different classes and the description. Okay?
Thank you, Anne.
And the next one, can you show Karen's classes? Emily, can you show Karen's?
Yes, sorry, I thought I was sharing it. Let me change what I'm sharing.
There. Karen's class is always the second Saturday of every month. So it's less often than the Zooming. But the Zooming really does give it a nice option, especially on a rainy, cold day. This one is outdoors, and if it is raining, they do go either in the church patio or into the building. And just generally, it gives you seasonal information about how you can grow healthy plant-based meals. And Karen is the person to teach that because she is a plant-based diet person. She grows everything that she eats, just about. Well, I think she does go buy some vegetables, but she doesn't eat meat. And she's a PhD in food science, chemistry. So she really can answer tough questions. And if you scroll down, Emily, this one for this Saturday, she has in particular how to start your seeds for warm season crops, planting and growing herbs, and planting and enjoying flowers. And that will be right at Grace Garden, right when we're finished working. We usually work not usually, we work 9 to 11. And then right at the red lunch bench, she will have it set up for her class, and it's an hour long. I should put the time. Okay, so those two. And now I would like you to show there's month to month in the garden. But before you show month to month in the garden, can you show the picture of the site plan? Okay, just the site plan. Yeah. Okay, I think it's hard to work without having a drawing of your garden. And it does help to draw it and just keep it in your thing, because every year you're going to do something a little bit different. And so this kind of shows you where is what. It shows the spigots for the water. You see the red circle, the red circle, the red circle. Okay. And then it shows you the color for the way the valves are set, 2 hours here, 2 hours of water here, 2 hours of water here. This whole section is on one valve. And then this one section is on one valve, and it shows how the valves are set up. Here's the pollinator bed that I showed you at the beginning that we grew, and here's the stage and the shed. All right. So the next picture I'm going to show you are the beds and what we're growing in them, and introduce you to crop rotation. Can you show me month to month in the garden now? Okay, since we're in February, I'll just go back 1 month just to give you an idea. All right. These are just generally things you would do in the garden, okay? I don't think I'm going to read every one of them. I will just point out some. And Emily, maybe if you at the end, I can share all these things that we posted, and I can send it to you as attachments. And this way you'll have them. Would you like that?
Sure.
Okay,
I
I
can do
will do
that.
that. And if you don't want it, then No worry, just don't open it and
I'll
just,
I'll pass it along to Joan.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll take care of that, Emily? I won't have to? That'd be great. Oh, wonderful. Okay. So in January, people think in January, this is where you can sit back and rest. There is a lot of work to do in January and it's cold, but you still got to get out there and keep your garden clean. You don't want piles and piles of leaves. If you want the leaves to be compost, go ahead, but put it in a compost area because if you just have it all just building up, you are inviting some fungus. All that moisture is not healthy. Here's some flowers you can plant. January is still cool. There's a lot of rain. It's an ideal time to plant native plants. How do you know the plant is native? There is a website in the Arboretum in the Google it. Google it. There's a website. I can't tell you exactly where, but it tells you how much water the plants need. When you buy a plant, law requires that the tag tells you how much water it needs. And if it's a low water use, you want to go toward that because water is becoming very expensive. Bare root fruit trees are great to buy, better than buying a fruit tree that's in a pot with soil because then you're paying a lot of money for the soil. Right now, a lot of the fruit trees are sold bare root. And if you buy it bare root and get it right into the ground in your home garden, that's ideal because then you don't give the roots a shock between wonderful soil in a pot and then the soil inside the hole that you're going to put it in. This is the time to plant because the soil is the friendliest. Planting trees when it's warm and dry will be more shocking. In February, that's right now. How many of you have peaches? Raise your hand. No peaches. You do have peaches. If you haven't yet, it's still, you squeeze it in. You need to spray it with peach leaf curl and you go to you can go to the plant store and look for peach leaf curl spray, and you can buy it ready mixed in a bottle if it's a small tree. If you have a lot of trees, you would probably want to do it with like a 2-gallon tank that you could spray easily, and be sure you're masked. It's important to do before the buds begin to swell, because then you will be spraying the flowers possibly. And this is what we're doing at the garden now. And you got to weed. And now we're not starting tomato, eggplant, and pepper. These 3 plants are in the family of nightshade because they require warm soil. If the soil isn't 55 or 60 degrees, those seeds will not grow strong plants. And so what people can do is you can have a heating pad or Grace Garden, because we had such a wonderful sale. We're going to get Morning Sun to start the seeds for us. They have a nice warming system for the soil. And this way we will have very strong seedlings by the end of March and the beginning 2 weeks of April when we want to plant them. Do not remove the frost damaged leaves because it makes the plant even more vulnerable. Just leave them on and let them just fall off by themselves because the basal growth is the basal cell is still alive. In March, I will send this out.
Just one moment, please. I've got to turn down.
I'm going to send this out to all of you because I think it's self-explanatory, except there are some names you might not understand. If you want, you can email the Grace Garden Woods email and I can answer you. Dave Woods and I are the ones who answer, and we can relay your question. If you have lots of questions, Master Gardener's Yolo MG is the email, excuse me, MG Yolo at ucdavis.edu. That would be the email you can write to, and they have volunteers just answering questions. It's like what is it? Not Hotmail, it's I forgot what they call it. But if you write to that and say, I have a garden question, can you send this to someone who can help me? You write to MG Yolo. That stands for Master Gardener Yolo at ucdavis.edu. Okay? That's a wonderful resource. Okay, I'm going to stop this one. And I think I've shown you everything, and it's 3:44. And I wanted to give you time to ask any questions you might have. I don't know if I was going in the direction you wanted to learn more. Questions? Tracy, can you unmute?
I was trying to unmute my background noise here. If you could forward that calendar and then the month by month thing that you showed, be very helpful. And I'm also going to attend the next one about the bee.
Great. And when you choose a native plant, like we chose yarrow, yarrow comes in red and yellow. I chose yellow because bees don't see red. If you grew red yarrow, you're not helping the bees. So if you're wanting to increase the bees,
What about my hummingbirds?
hummingbirds like red.
But I don't color my hummingbird feeder red syrup because I understood they didn't need it.
That's better not to have food coloring in the sugar water because you're already attracting them. But the feeder itself is red, right?
Yes.
And that should do it. I'm going to actually put up 2 when I was in
I
Costa
want one on
Rica.
the other side of the
Yeah.
house too, but I noticed that the Dollar Tree hummingbird feeders, the Walmart, I can't find a difference in their quality. They're all pretty much the same. Also, you brought up that lemon verbena. That was so plentiful to me. I finally started using it as almost ground cover, not to walk on, but in between flowers. What else? What else can I use it for other than just adding it places? I really wasn't successful with making tea with it.
It's delicious. If you take the tender leaves,
Okay.
I want to make sure it's a lemon verbena because
Yes.
you're making it sound like it's a ground cover, but the lemon
No,
verbena.
it's not to walk on, but it's so easy. You pinch it and it put it in water and it propagates and it propagates. And so I just wanted the dirt to be covered around my flowers, like my petunias and such. I'm sure it's lemon verbena.
If you're sure, that's fine. And I think it's a very healthy way to put dried plant litter around the base of what you want to protect. I think that's a good practice. Lemon verbena, to make it a tea, you need to put lots. So you take the tender ends, drop by Grace Garden, and you just get a whole.
It's on my to-do list.
And we have, in fact, it got so big in my backyard.
It does.
It gets big and it's beautiful. And it has a very nice smell. And you can, so I put the one I had in my backyard, I put in the Grace Garden, and it just transplants very easily. And I think it's a good idea. We brought it down all the bushes we brought down. This way you have more tender leaves. If you just keep on letting it grow, the leaves do get old.
And
I
so I
want
need to
tender
wait. I need to wait till the leaves dry.
No, you can use fresh leaves. In fact, if you haven't pruned your lemon verbena yet,
I
I
have.
would bring it, an important principle for pruning is no crossing branches. All right?
Okay.
So if the branches are crossing, take the one out that's crossing over, and this way you'll have more of a flare.
Okay.
And then bring it, so if you have a branch, if you bring it down like a third, that's giving it a nice haircut. And
Okay.
then looking at the shape, the overall shape, that it's balanced. If one side seems to have a lot of growth in another, you can balance it out by thinning out the heavy grown side.
Okay.
And that helps. And then just bringing it in a little bit every season. Not every season, but once a year.
Okay.
Um,
Would this time of year be okay to go ahead and do
I
that
would
work?
do it right now. I would do it a little bit earlier next year.
Good. I thought
No,
I would start
I
with
would do
that.
it, I think I would do it right away. Now, some plants, such as if you're planting an apricot tree, are very sensitive toward pruning when it's wet because the fungus can travel. But the lemon verbena is not, would not have that issue. But just generally speaking, I like to get my bushes pruned before the rainy season. And it seems like here in Davis, it's quite rainy in January and February. So I would try to get the pruning in by November, December, if you can. But it's not too late now. If you have the peach tree, you are late, but it's better now than not doing it. Once you spray it with the dormant spray, you really need to be free of any kind of rain for about 2, 3 days for that dormant spray to work
Well, we
inside.
can't count on that right now.
So you don't do the labor or the expense and and to judge whether or not you're too late, you have to look at the buds. If it looks like it's swelling up, I would not spray it, or else you won't get the fruit.
Thank you.
Speaking of fruit, if you have a fruit or edible that you ended up having the tree grow so big that you really can't possibly eat as much as it's growing, we also accept fruit and veggies from the neighborhood. And you can bring it to Grace Garden, and we include that to give to the hungry.
Great.
We put in 4 new trees just in the last month. We put in 2 fig trees. Did you know fig trees don't have to be grafted onto a rootstock? And so that makes it a lot cheaper. Our fig trees, we got a brown turkey and a black mission. They were like $24 each. And then we bought a dapple dandy cluot, and that was like $55 one, because that's really the dapple dandy grafted into a rootstock of a hardier um, mother tree. I don't know the name of the mother tree. There's like a citation is a pretty good standby because the roots can go deep into the ground. Whereas if it were just the pluot dapple dandy itself, sometimes they don't have that. It just can't grow its roots as well as some of the rootstocks like citation. That's one of the most common ones.
What was the second fig you got? You got a black mission and what else?
Brown turkey.
Thank you.
Do you like figs?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. So one of the things we wanted to do at Grace Garden is acknowledge different cultural practices. And one of the people, Renee, is Jewish in her cultural background, and she said it's traditional to have the entry have a fig. And indigenous people, it's traditional to have your entrances have white sage. So all our entry points have white sage. And that can also, the leaves on that can be bundled up, dried, and then smoked for smudging.
I have not been able to find the sage, so I've been making my smudge sticks out of regular sage. Sage is one of my favorites of all.
The
I
fragrance.
love, and the texture of the leaves and
Yeah. When you come, I'll tell you a little bit more. I found a place in Sacramento. It was like $5 for a nice size smudge stick, and I thought that's really reasonable because I paid up to $10 for a smudge stick.
I have two.
So yeah, it's right there on Broadway.
Where on Broadway?
You need to write to me, and
Okay.
okay.
I think I got an idea. I will do
I went there for Christmas. It's right around the Chinese store that we go and get our groceries on Broadway.
Right.
I have to, it's an import. It's an import store that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Now from these, I've tried to do my own smudge sticks, and I found them easier to make, of course, when they're moist. And I just use regular twine. I haven't found through any website a roller, more professional roller. But the bottom line is, do you roll them after they're dry or while they're still fresh?
Can you write that question and I will ask Diana?
Sure will.
And also, I wonder what Siri would say.
I
And
can't remember if I've tried that.
And I can, yeah, because in one of the projects I was working on out in Esparto, we were building an arbor for an indigenous style, and when the man delivered the pine logs, Diana went and smudged all the logs. So she knows a bit about smudging.
Mm-hmm.
She really is.
I practice it.
Oh, you would probably enjoy. Okay.
I especially after something unfortunate, whether it's win or without the house, or maybe there's been conflict, or sometimes it just has a bad zen. Okay, it's just something's wrong. And also, I have a deadbeat brother-in-law, and boy, his room can get to really strong scent. And it's the only thing with the burning of the sage that will cut that smell. I've
That's
used a
very
whole
interesting.
$5 can of Lysol in the room. And then I've gone in another time and just burned the sage, just a little bit going around, and it makes it tolerable.
That's interesting. Where I live at the cannery, and right by the train tracks, all along Cannery Loop, there are lots of sage shrubs. I mean, now they've grown in and they're really huge, and I don't think there's a problem in harvesting some sage there. And it has that beautiful smell.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Anne.
Any other questions? Well, how we can stay connected is come and visit Grace Garden. You have the email for Grace Garden. You can review the website page, and it has the email there. I encourage you to stay connected to the Master Gardener link for any questions you might have, because it's impossible to answer all the questions in an hour. People all have different needs. So remember, you can email MG for Master Gardener, MG Yolo at ucdavis.edu.
Will you be attending at that April 13th plant sale?
I sure am because I'm working there.
Okay, good.
It's
I
one
hope
of our,
I hope you remember me then.
I may not remember the name, but
But
I
I'll
think I
tell
will
you, well,
I will remember your smudging.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming. Lil iPhone, I don't know who you are. You came in a little late. And Robin Home, I don't know who you are. Here's Emily posted on the chat. Let's just check the chat and now
Yeah.
as a way to end.
So we had no questions in the chat, but I did mention that you would love people's emails if they'd like you to add them to the Master Gardener's contact list. So feel free to drop your email in the chat for Anne to add to that contact list. And the website is in the chat as well as the Grace Garden email and the mgyolo@ucdavis.edu email.
Thank
The
you,
reason
ladies.
the reason why it's important for you to share your email, if you haven't shared it before, is the statewide. Every state has a Master Gardener program, and it gets some funding from the state. But overall, the Master Gardener program is run by volunteers. And so by showing our outreach, how many, our head count is important. And they include you then in knowing more about other Master Gardener programs.
I know how that works. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I enjoyed our small little group and
And let's give Anne a virtual round of applause.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anne.
So Emily, to be clear then, you are going to be sending them the document copies, or am I?
Anybody's emails I get in the chat, I'm happy to send those documents to. So far, I'm not seeing any.
Tracy is the only one, I think.
All right. I'll share the documents with Joan for sure, though, so she can pass them along as well.
That's very good.
Okay. Well, I think I'll go ahead
I
and.
think Anne also sent them to me, so I think I have them as well, right?
Oh,
Anne, is
perfect.
that right? Yeah.
Yes. Now, Susanna, are you working with Mike in making this possible?
I'm Mike's
You're the
new
replacement.
replacement. Yes, he was wanting to try some other things, and so
Oh, okay. So
yes.
actually then on our website, we can put, on our website presently says, well, I don't, oh, I should have your name on it, right? Are
I
you?
don't know. I mean,
Well, it's through the library primarily, right?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah. I'm involved in trying to get speakers lined up, but and then I'm also supposed to do some things about sending information to certain people, which is still a little bit unclear to me. I'm getting more knowledgeable about that part, but this is just starting, so that's where I'm
Okay.
at.
Thank you, Susanna. You have been very helpful in the little details. And so
Thank you.
Usha right here is also a Master Gardener. What year did you graduate, Susanna?
Oh, I'm a new Master Gardener. I just ended last spring.
And today we had a new one working in the garden. She
Oh,
graduated last spring. Very nice. Was it Robin? I think her name
might,
was Robin.
might be. Yeah, it was a big class.
How big is a big class? 35?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I heard this year, it's a good class too.
Yeah, I heard that too. It's great.
I graduated spring of 2022 and all the classes were on Zoom.
Oh, wow.
I think that's very hard.
Yeah.
Okay, then have a wonderful day.
Thank
And let's
you.
keep in
Have a
touch.
wonderful day. Thank you so much, Anne. And thank you, Emily.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Emily, for
Thank
making
you
it
all.
easy. I was pretty nervous.